Hello, everyone. Hello, guys. Hello, everyone. We come again. Welcome to this live streaming. Okay. And engineering oriented auto part. Okay. Engineering oriented. Okay. Now let's just adjust about the. Let's adjust the sound so that you could watch nice more clearly. Now let's just about the. Adjust the sound so that you could clearly. Thank you. Now let's adjust the sound so that you could clearly. Right. I think I'm gonna start today's live streaming. Okay. I'm gonna start what I'm moving now. So hi there, it's Alex. And also this is Emulate Auto Parts Corporation Limited. Okay. So today I'm here to introduce you about some details about what we have and then kind of product we got to the value, and especially for our mother also mother company Eaton Boss. Okay. Hey, hello everyone, welcome to the live streaming. We are here to just let you know what we have, what kind of technology we have to adopt to the related product, and what type of modification design we have to add to the specific area of the vehicle, so that the vehicle gotta have great performance, especially when we're talking about this specific vehicle right here. Okay, let's check about the sound. We make it good or not. A moment. Show right. Okay. So today you're gonna showcase or type of the little tiny component right in the live streaming component, so that you could know what kind of component we have adopted on a specific suspension system. Okay. So I think the first study I'm gonna to showcase about the air spring. Okay, air spring. We call it a spring system. But as we all know, the spring system actually got like the leaf spring, oil spring, kind of that we adopt to different vehicle. Like the passenger car, usually primarily adopt kind of coil spring, gonna to working in pair together with the road. You're looking at downside from chassis of the passenger car. You're gonna say the road and coil spring they combine together, so that they could work in pair together, bring the great performance to the passenger that could do truly smooth ride for the passenger car. And but for the heavy duty vehicle like the coach, it like the city bus system uh, with the capability and with the more passenger on it, I think it wants to take the heavy duty spring working together with shock absorber. That is, they could absorb the kind of shock and vibration from a road surface, so that could bring most variety and comfortable to specific vehicle, especially for the heavy duty vehicle. Okay. This is the first thing I'd like to okay, this first thing, and second, I'm gonna show you about air spring. I think I'm gonna show the PPT right here so that you can know what I'm talking about specifically. Okay, this is the airbag base. Okay, airbag base.呀，尝着听一下这声音怎么样啊？厂长，听一下声音怎么样啊？So Alex，听一下这直播的声音怎么样？啊？说这个行，晚上听。对，最好在外面听，在里面听到这个回音。搜 Alex 就可以搜到 Alex 人。Okay. Yeah, I think you have to focus on the PPT right above my head so that you could understand what I mean. This is the real object I am showing on the table so that could demonstrate what it is. In a more late product system, actually, the airbag base, the is this. Okay. Huh? 有啊有啊有啊，再说。不是，我是说 Alex 人嘛，有吧？你给你看一下那个延时，看一下画面，看一下声音怎么样？看一下啊，然后再做一个调整。Okay, just save this is the airbag base to tables that clearly what it's looking like. Maybe you are familiar about the whole structure of the airbag, but if I separate the specific parts, it's actually kind of airbag base. E-tone's whole system is kind of air spring that's which adopted on the specific bus model. Actually, we adopt this kind of county tech. This is actually joint developing together with the prominent company from Germany. We call it Continental. Okay, the more lead just jointly together developing this kind of a county tech. County tech is a kind of a subsidiary component of the Continental. So these specializing in this kind of airbag. So the more late just our company developing together with the County Tech and jointly together developing this kind of bigger volume of the airbag. So we got very clearly letters they have engraved on the body of the airbag. This side County Tech, and on the other side of the body of the airbag, you could see the E-tone and logo together engraved distinctively. You could identify it. Okay, on the other side. So this one has actually got the bigger volume, and also with the matching airbag. Okay, kind of bigger volume, around 50% volume than the similar product in the market, and also. When we talked about the bigger volume, so what does it mean? So what kind of beneficial it could bring for? So it's actually the biggest volume it could bring kind of result which have undergo the standard or industry standard test about the offset frequency 1.1 hertz compare with the similar product. The result around 1.3 hertz. So the brain or and fed aboard to the passenger. as we all know, the suspension, the functions in order to bring kind of a smooth ride for the vehicle and also for the comfortable. It's kind of a to definitely purpose suspension function. So this what we call it bigger volume, so which could realizing helped the suspension system jointly bring the great beneficial for the passenger comfortable. OK， 现在怎么样？那个看着画面。不是，你看那个画面清晰度，包括那个桌面有没有歪之类的。手机上看清楚不清楚？好 ，OK， back to what are we talking about? The airbag base。那延迟怎么样？声音5到10秒，哎，还顺畅吧 ？OK。This is the biggest volume, big airbag with this separated design, and also definitely we got the compacted design of airbag base. And no matter what kind of structure of the airbag base, airbag, if you require any kind of like that. So what I think, no matter what kind of structure, either the separated design or compacted design, they both have their advantage. They both got the characteristic and for the compacted design of the structure, which could allow more space for the other component of the chassis. So we allow the flexibility for the chassis while you fitted to the certain area. And for the separated design of this kind of airbag, the whole structure maybe could more easily be dismantled, as we all know. This kind of airbag, even if these materials actually have undergo kind of a load test for around 10 million lifetime cycle, but even that, I think these have a fatigue life around 3 years or 4 years, like that, maximum 5 years. This airbag have to be replaced because actually you have the rubber, natural rubber, and this material is actually made of the 3 kind of materials. So one is as we all know, the natural rubber layer and natural rubber, and the second will be the bit wire, and the third will be the cord fabric. So 3 different materials compounded together. So this is actually not the purely natural rubber layer. So this one is make it this kind of a compounded materials really make it long lasting and have the good fatigue life and rigidness, make the endurability it's more longer. And this is actually have a go through kind of processing, we call it volcanization, high steam volcanization processing, and with the accurate temperature to control this standpoint so that make it the durability more longer. Right, this is the body of the airbag. And the airbag base that like I had mentioned just now, which with the bigger volume of the airbag base to matching with the airbag itself. And so with the separated design to once you want to replace this airbag body, so quite easy for it. Okay. Put it down. Okay, this is the separated design of the airbag, and also we have this kind of compacted design structural airbag. So like no matter what kind of structural, both have its characteristic, have its advantage over one another, like that. So right, just as per requirement. We got a telemite, and they could either take the imported brand or you could take the China domestic brand. As we all know, the China's vehicles industry just have moving to on a sophisticated and very mature, no matter what auto parts or especially for the electrification of penetrating rapidly into the vehicles industry so that no matter the whole vehicle, what I mentioned is the finished vehicle or any kind of like the new electricity vehicle, like the three main essential part like the battery battery cell or the controller or electric motor, what kind of technology you could take it from China. It's a really trustworthy and also which have got the reputation, got its name from all over the world because the bus manufacturer from all over the globe they have take kind of a part, a kind of essential part of the, especially for the electricity part bus. They have adopted on their specific bus model, have used it, actually have shown a great performance in their country. That's why we got confident, we got the name and reputation all over the globe, especially for this kind of well-known bus manufacturers such as Road, actually the mother company Molit. Okay, Molit is the subsidiary company of Eaton Bus. So, like what I mentioned, where you can find the Eaton Bus model, and no matter what kind of bus model you can find in your country or neighborhood, you can find the related auto parts inside of the Eaton Bus. Like what I mentioned, that's the foundation of this Molit, our company. We just engineering and tailor-made, customized about all related the auto part for the mother company for specific the bus models. So I could say over 90% auto part they got adopted from Yutong, from Jingda. Yeah, because we got another name. We got another name of in China domestic market on the Jingda. Okay, you could type the word into your search window. You say, oh, this company gonna pop out. Gonna say what we are. So today we just focus on all of the specific component and all kind of parts which have adopted and using widely in order to kind of suspension and axle. Okay, just now we have described about the air spring. So after that, I got actually described about this one. Eight. Like what I mentioned, if you are working in this industry, you must know what I'm talking about, especially for the technique words. We have mentioned, okay, so what I think if you are in our live streaming, what I think you must kind of a great fan of vehicle or you are a technician of the vehicle or auto parts industry or you are purchaser, you are purchase manager or any kind of rank which related most related to vehicles auto parts industry. So it's all kind of technical words I'm kind of talking here. I think you know about it. Okay. So about this damper, damper system. This damper system actually have shock absorber, or we got the throat, or we got other kind of a torsion bar, as any kind of system, which must have a different types. So I'm gonna show you here this one's damper system. We call it shock absorber, and let me show you this. So you can say the Sox, okay? Sox actually the subsidiary company of the ZIF, okay? Okay, it's related ZIF. Okay, we can say the sticker have attached to the body to the shock absorber right here. Okay. But I'm showing this one in our live streaming should not we are not actually not the representative of any imported brand. We are gonna show here is because some of our product suspension, specific suspension products actually are tailor-made for our end user. They just required this kind of shock absorber to using in their specific suspension. They just tailor-made and as per their requirement to attach what kind of an imported brand, no matter what kind of brand they need, and just tailor-made at your requirement. Okay, and also as we all know, the Chinese domestic market, we can have this kind of great performance with this kind of bigger diameter cylinder shock absorber in planet China domestic market, and also also you could also adopt any kind of brand from the other country. Okay, it's okay. This is Zero Socks, and I'm showing here this one because have a great advantage over the other similar product because which have adopted kind of a bigger diameter of the cylinder integrated inside it, which could bring the great performance of the force. Why the let's take the city bus for example, because when the city bus running torn its high speed region or especially on the highway, like 70 to 80 kilogram per hour, and the vehicle usually got kind of movement, especially accidentally encounter kind of pothole or curbing or curbed, so the vehicle's gonna to have a kind of extreme roll and pitch like that. So the damping force is gonna to increase that could isolate kind of shock or any vibration from the road surface, so that could isolate that bring the smooth and right all the times for the vehicle. And in the opposite side, where the vehicle running on a low speed region like the 20 to 30 kilogram per hour, and same weight, and the damping force gonna increase again, and to avoid any extreme road, and especially we all know when we drive our passenger car. When you have your private car, you will know that we drive the passenger car on the specific road, especially wide the low speed region of 20 to 30 kilogram per hour. The vehicle usually got a type of tilted down or squat, just like overload on the front or the rear part of the vehicle. The vehicle is gonna have extreme roll pitch like that. It was quite this is actually the suspension gonna work, the damping force gonna work, and the damping force gonna to increase again, so that could avoid any extreme avoiding, okay, like that. This is kind of why the damping for the damper and working along with the air spring system, so that could bring the function of the suspension like that, right? It's the shock absorber, okay. So again, this is actually the Molate auto parts corporation limited. As I mentioned all the time, it's an engineering oriented auto part manufacturer, and since our foundation we providing and supplying all kind of auto part related to Eton bus to their mother company. And since the foundation, we just design and customize all kind of related on it, and all kind of part related to the specific bus model to the Eton bus group. So, like what I mentioned, where you can find the Eton bus model, go inside and find the related auto part inside of a bus or any kind of merchant vehicle, which I could say over 90% of the auto parts, the Eton bus group have sourcing from the Molate from the subsidiary company. Okay, so and not only the chassis kit element like the suspension or axle product, but also with the interiors like the seaters, like the air conditioner or all kind of air conditioner. And also we got one, a subsidiary company, especially specializing or in the motor and controller. So for the Atom Bus Group, the way it's showing a great performance of the reputation all over the globe they have adopted all over the globe and all the country. Maybe I could find in every country could find these related bus model just nearby and close to your neighborhood, which have adopted in your cities, local cities public transportation system. You find the Eton bus because which actually have shown great performance. That's why why we carried out this kind of live streaming to showcase all of the characteristics of our auto partners. That is because in the past we never sold any kind of suspension axle or other component or auto part of related to the bus model to the market, especially for the overseas market. But today we just opened the business gate. That is because, especially for this kind of period of COVID-19, uh, since this is lots of the manufacturer do pretty hard to go through the other country for finding kind of reliable and trustworthy and able auto parts manufacturer for supplying them kind of auto parts. So I think this kind of opportunity and also our responsibility to guys open the business gate for the bus manufacturer to supply and providing the kind of trustworthy auto parts and which have adopted on the Eton bus rate for a long time, which have shown the great performance, which mature and sophisticated technology, which they optimize the most with the best optimized modification design onto the designated part of the vehicle. So that is kind of it's definitely kind of trustworthy auto part manufacturer, and this is also a kind of a chance you can find in the live streaming here. You could find the related component right here. We got a showcase or kind of auto part right and showcase on table so that you could note what kind of process you have applied to the designated part or the small little tiny components or object which have adopted on the specific suspension to the specific part of suspension, so that you could know that how to make the free maintenance in the entire surface life, how that's working with the kind of processing of applying it, and how to make to ensure that the free maintenance to make the cost saving for the operator. Okay, like what I mentioned just now, if you are in the live streaming, you must great fan of vehicle or just maintenance in this auto part industry. I've seen some stuff like that. So otherwise, you will not just stick in the live streaming to listen what I'm talking about. It's quite boring. It's not like the product, instant product or kind of electric devices which could easily to ship into other country. You could find it. So as for this kind of industry, auto part industry, which actually belonging to the heavy industry, it's quite boring for a lot of the other people if you don't understand what I'm talking about, especially for the auto parts. So I'm here to showcase about this one. Okay, moment. Hey. 师傅，带那个麦吧。哎呦，一会儿。Hey everyone, okay, welcome back to our channel. This is Zach from Molid, and we have been working on the auto part industry for over 16 years. And thank you for tuning in our live streaming session. And just to quickly introduce about our company, this is Zach from Molid. So we have involved in the auto part industry. Our main product is bus axles as well as suspension systems. Okay, and we are a company that based on research and development as well as the technology, advanced technology that we used. So as you can see here, there are two models of buses from Yutong. So actually we are a sub company from Yutong. So our product including bus axles, suspension systems, and chassis, ball joint, as well as the wheel end, shock absorber, and the are integrated in Yutong buses. Okay, so we have a lot of great, very much great product here. And also let's talk about the technology that we used. So we have our patented technology in different part on the chassis system, including the bus axles and the suspension systems. Okay, so now first
let me introduce those technologies one by one, okay? So firstly, we have the maintenance-free ball joint here. Okay, look, this is our maintenance-free ball joint. It is made of natural rubber in the middle and alloy material on the side of the wheel. It has a very good impact protection characteristics as well as the maintenance-free characteristics, because you can see in the inside this is made of alloy and the suspension systems. Okay. Okay, here let's talk about another great product from Mollet. This is the suspension system here. Okay, so this is the Spiralock technology bolt and joint. So we use this Spiralock bolt and joint on our chassis system as well as the maintenance cost. So as you can hear, this bolt and joint is entirely metal. Okay, it is made of entire metal, and the material of this is alloy, and you can find a protective coating outside. Sure. Okay, now with a protective coating and alloy material, we can probably ensure that it is anti-corrosion and waterproof. Okay, it is very much waterproof and anti-corrosion. Sure. Now let's start to talk about another great product from Mollet. Apart from this Spiralock technology bolt and joint, we also have a maintenance-free rubber ball joint. Now you can see the picture here, right? On the picture, we can see a great. This is the disassemble of our chassis system, right? Bus axles, including the airbag, the shock absorber, as well as the chassis axle. F and G and the bus axles. Good. So what are the material of this, you may ask? Well, the material is very simple, and it is very much protected by our technology we used, apart from the sway bar and the maintenance-free rubber ball joint. Okay, now let's talk about another great product from Mollet. Okay, so the first thing that came to my mind is the rubber ball joint. It is made of natural rubber, and for this Spiralock technology bolt and joint, I can assure you that it has a very wide range of application, as well as the good. Okay, now let's talk about another advantage of this maintenance-free Spiralock bolt and joint. Firstly, let's talk about the material. Okay, I already mentioned it is made of alloy and entire product. The other thing I want to say is that the material is premium, so we can ensure you it is totally maintenance-free. And so another thing I want to talk about is the airbag itself. Okay, you can see the material of the airbag is basically rubber, So we cooperated with leading technology in the market. Okay, the ContiTech, the brand name is ContiTech. So if I say ContiTech, it may not ring a bell to you, but if I say Continental, okay, Continental airbag, it does ring a bell. So Continental is a very famous brand that's focusing on the tire, especially for the high-end cars like Porsche, BMW, or Audi, and yes. So apart from the ContiTech airbag, we also have some great materials, including the 4 layers of curtain. Okay, there are 4 layers of curtain inside. So if you cut this airbag open, you'll find 4 layers of curtain. So you may ask another question. Okay, so what is the purpose of the 4 layers of curtain? Should 2 layers of curtain suffice? Well, to put it more blunt, 4 layers of curtain give it a great impact protection and deformation resistance. Okay, if I put the airbag like this, it will get back to its original shape very quickly. Look, wow, within a second, okay, it can get back. And if I can hear there is a little sound. I don't know if you can hear it, but this is the layers of curtain functioning, okay, to maintain its original shape. It is very useful and very much efficient compared to the other product. Okay. Another thing, let's talk about the material. The material, as I mentioned, 4 layers of curtain, and if you pay attention to the size, if you pay attention to the size of this airbag, you will easily find that this size of this big airbag it's very rare. You see, it's very rare. The volume of this airbag is about 50% bigger compared to the others in the market. It's 50% bigger, right? And also it is if you look inside, you will find different line of it. Okay, different line of this airbag. It's very extremely important and very efficient. Okay, so now let's talk about another great feature of our product. Let's look at this foundation, shall we? So this is the airbag foundation. It is the foundation of the airbag. Okay, and as you can see here, it is made of alloy and a protective coating outside. Okay, so you can find it on our chassis system. It is very much impact protection, and it has very good impact resistance compared to other material that you can find from our competitors. Okay, another thing I want to mention is that for a foundation this big, actually this foundation is about 50% bigger compared to other product in the market. So this is 50% bigger compared to other product in the market. For another great product, as I mentioned before, so this one has a bigger volume of this airbag. Okay, the airbag volume is bigger, as well as the maintenance life. It has a shorter maintenance life of 3 years. And also, if you pay attention to the alloy material that we have, you will find 2 layers of curtain outside, okay? 2 layers of curtain outside. Another advantage I must mention is that it has a modular design. Actually, a modular design of this product, okay? A modular design of this product makes it easier to maintain as well as to go with our product. So with all the material that we used, let's focus on the attention and the product. The foundation actually is bigger compared to what you got. The foundation is 50% bigger, as I mentioned before, as well as the airbag volume, so as to the top cover here. So as to the top cover, right? So the top cover actually is much bigger compared to the elder generation of the product. And if you pay attention to the volume, and the volume is actually a little bigger. And another advantage of the modular design is that you can easily remove any part of it. You can easily remove any part. For example, if this one has a problem, you can easily remove this one and put on a new one, okay? You can easily remove this one and put on a new one. Here. So another product that I want to say is that the volume of this ContiTech airbag is relatively bigger compared to what you got from. So it is very much protected, as well as the volume. Okay, the volume is relatively bigger, as well as the maintenance life. The maintenance life is only 50% as what you got from our competitors. Another thing I want to mention is that the offset frequency, actually the offset frequency from this airbag is only 1.1 Hertz. By comparison, the offset frequency from the other product is 1.3 Hertz. Okay, so the lower the offset frequency is, the better performance you will get from our product. Right, so that is the difference between our product and other materials that we have. Now let's talk about another great product. Here is, so actually, here is a SUX shock absorber here. Okay, so if you can see it here, the brand is SUX. So it's SACHS. I'll show you on our PowerPoint. Okay, here. Yes. Okay, so here is our SACS shock absorber. It is from Germany, actually. So German technology and the German brand. Okay. So the other thing I want to mention is that with a German technology, SACS brand shock absorber is also, you can find it on ZF brand product. So if you are in the auto industry, you must be familiar with ZF. So ZF is one of the biggest transformation manufacturer in the market. So actually, ZF is a world biggest transmission manufacturer. It is also the supplier of ZF, the supplier of the product from ZF, as well as the product from another great dimension which has a greater capability of our newly developed technology. For example, we have our shock absorber, as well as the product from our own. So we have the other thing I want to mention is that the airbag itself has a bigger volume, and the shock absorber, we tuned different offset frequency on our shock absorbers actually. So for example, this product has a impact protection rate of 1.1 Hertz, and we tune the resistance of the shock absorber of 1.1 Hertz, as well as the other product on the line. Okay, so and for this shock absorber, the diameter of the cylinder is 1.1, 45 millimeters actually, and we have a diameter of 40 millimeters in the market average, as well as the diameter of this the other product of 4.1 hertz. Okay, that's what we get from the other product in the market. Good. Now let's talk about another great feature of our product. So it is from the ZF brand. So we have the ZF brand and SACS brand shock absorber. And our engineers actually tuned different damping force for different level of shock absorbers. So for a very low level of shock absorber, we increased the damping force for our shock absorbers. For a decreased level of, actually we decrease the damping force as of our production line reduces. And for another product, we have a increased damping force in a very middle range of the speed level, and for a very high speed damping force, we increase the damping force. Sure. Another thing I want to talk about is our wheel end system here. This is our wheel end system. It is made of alloy and other protective product. From the the brand is Timken, Timken, Timken. Okay, so for this Timken product, we have a protective wheel here. This is a protective wheel here, and the rim and the ball bearing system are integrated together. Okay, they are integrated together. And also we have the outer rim of the Timken wheel end. This is imported from America. And for the oil cell is also integrated. Okay, there are very low friction and very low heat produced. And the life expectancy for this one is 1,000,000 kilometers for the road bus, and 800,000 kilometers for city buses. And for its entire life, you do not need to change the lubrication oils. For every 15,000 kilometers or 12 months, you have to change the oil for it. Sure, we also have our patented dry cut technology, as well as our DIN1 level of main reducer. Our 11.5 tons rear axles is made of our main reducers. The advantage is bigger torque, the high efficiency, and the bigger efficiency, the bigger torque can bear, and the sound effect is very much reduced. Okay, now let's talk about the foundation, the airbag, and the top cover of this airbag. And because of our modular design, it is very much efficient, and it is very easy to deploy for these 4 different levels of product. Okay, now let's talk about another great feature of our low floor design and the wheel and driving system. So for this one, this is our low floor bus for axles. This is our Yutong buses, and it has a very high level of protection rate. We can drive it on the wheel end. This road bus has a robust design of its chassis, so we have a lower level of ground level, as well as the chassis system implied. Now, okay, apart from this alloy system, we also have our molded patented technology of dry cut and gluten welding technology. So, and this axle housing is made of the friction welding processes instead of the arc welding processes. The energy consumption is only 20% of the traditional welding processes. There is no need for any protective gas or energy saving. The manufacture efficiency is very high. The cost of manufacture is very low. The whole manufacturing process will only take dozens of seconds. Another thing I want to talk about is that we have our gluten welding processes, so that the surface the surface of the welding does not need to be melted or condensed. The whole energy consumption is only 20% of what we have got from our previous part of the word. There is no need for the auxiliary materials such as the welding bars and the protective gas or dust produced, and other toxic materials will also be not produced. We have PCV valves for our enhanced main reducers for 45 millimeters of diameters and other oil cells. Our shock absorber currently have better performance to achieve a low ride, a comfortable ride without sacrificing the stability of the bus. So now let's talk about another great product from our low floor design of our product. So as I mentioned before, so our city bus have the characteristic of the low floor design. Okay, so it can be achieved by multiple front, and so the low floor design has a very good impact protection as well as the lower ride compared to other chases. Okay, so if you can compare this road bus with the city bus product, you can clearly find that the road bus have a very high window, while the city bus has a very low window here, right? So the first thing I want to mention is that the color of this road bus, the wing color is black, and the color of the window bus is right. Good. So another product, let's talk about the floor. So how can we achieve a low floor design? Well, it can be divided to two different kind of aspects, actually. Two different kind of aspects. The first one is that the city bus has a very low floor of the design. The road bus has a very high floor design. Okay. Another thing I want to talk about is that for this city bus and road bus, and the engine, the location of the engine is different. So on the city bus, the location of the engine is directed right next to the here. Okay, I'll show you here. The for this one, on the right side of the bus, the engine of the bus is located at the back here, at the back of the bus. So which is the comparison between the center driving system and the wheel driving system. So the engine here is at the center, and this engine, the two engines here are located at each side of the wheel. So what is the difference between the wheel driving system and the engine driving system? Well, first, the engine is located here at the back of the seat. For the wheel driving system here, the engine is located on each side of the wheel. And for the city bus, the torque can be distributed directly to the bus itself. Well, for this this road bus, the power should be transmitted through the transmission bar and then distributed to the two different wheels here. So in the second model, we have to adopt double rear wheel system, so we can bear the torque and increase the stability of the entire bus. However, on the right side here, we have to put more pressure on the other side of the road bus, and then put another great feature on our buses, which is much more important compared to our older generation, because we not only increase the stability of the bus, but also increase the torque of the bus on this model, so that we have a better performance across the board. Another thing I want to talk about is that for these Yutong buses, our product has been verified and exported to different kind of country of the world. For example, our products were exported to Thailand and tropical countries like Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, as well as European countries like Finland. Okay, so the weather condition in those countries are extremely different. So we have the high temperature on Ethiopia in the summer of 50 degrees Celsius. We also have the winter temperature in Finland, which can reach as low as minus 30 degrees Celsius. Now let's talk about how can our buses survive in such harsh conditions. You must know that the most important part on the system is the chassis. Okay, so our product should be on the right chassis to produce enough heat for our customers. So firstly, this chassis system have a better solution compared to the others, and also by achieving those products, we can proudly say that this is our patented technology of Yutong buses, and also the rear axle of this system is also provided by the system of our product. Another thing, let's talk about the maintenance cost of our buses. The maintenance cost. So for this one, the city buses, the wheel end has a maintenance cost of every 12 months or every 150,000 kilometers. For these kilometers, the only thing you need to do is to check. And for its entire life cycle, you do not need to change the lubrication oils. And for the road bus, for every 1,000 miles, you have to change the wheel end. But you do not need to maintain the ball bearing system as well as the system as a whole. Good. Now, because this is not affected by drastic changes of weather conditions and a wider use of applications, there is no need for any auxiliary materials such as the rubber gasket, the welding bars. It can evidently increase the rim and its maintenance life. It has a great anti-corrosion and anti-seismic systems. We have our own patented technology of a reduced gearbox, as well as the yearly production rate of 5 million kilometers. And we use the dry cut technology to manufacture the gear reducer of our product, as well as our main reducers with a 10% of increase in the strings. Okay, good. Okay, now let's talk about another great feature of our product. Another great feature. This is for our axle housing. Okay, so traditionally we use the arc welding processes in the axle housing manufacturing processes and the friction welding processes. For example, the energy consumption is only 20% of what we got on the arc welding processes, and there is no need for protective gas or the auxiliary materials such as welding bars or carbon dioxide. The manufacturing efficiency is very high. It's about 20% or dozens of seconds. It only takes dozens of seconds to makes it happen before we use our welding processes. Okay. Now with PCV valves, it is very easy for us to use our reduced main reducers of these friction welding processes to manufacture our axle housing. Okay. And the total efficiency of the product is 95%. It's 95% of the product. So for its our reduced main reducers, the strength increase can be 10%. There is a 10% strength increase about our self-patented gear reducer, and the yearly production capability is 50,000 sets per year. So that is all I want to talk about for the technology that we used. Now let's talk about the different models of our product. Okay, so we have different models of our product. Okay, we have different model of our product. So here we have our AR series of AR85. So let me show you here. So we have different models on our product. The most drastic one is AR85. So now let's talk about AR85, shall we? So the AR85 has a specification parameter of 88.5 kilograms, 8.5 tons actually for the maximum axle loading, and the rim mounting distance is 1776 and 1836. Okay, the ratio is 3.91, 4.1. The maximum output torque can be up to 18,000 and or 22,000 if you will. The weight is 585 for the drum disc, and 464 for the disc braking. Okay, so it's totally different. And the type of the wheel terminal for the bearing unit is or the conventional, and the distribution circle is 8 times 275. 8 times 275. For the brake model, okay, the brake model has a disc of 90.5 millimeters, sorry, not millimeters, inches for the drum disc, or the drum brake, the size is 400 millimeters times 180 millimeters. Okay, good. So for the AR185, it can bear buses from 8 to 9 meters. Okay, if you want to build a bus that's from 8 to 9 meters, okay, you just utilize this stat that I got for you. Okay, so AR85. Another thing that I want to talk about is that to match the front, the rear axles, AR85, we have our AF45 here. We use AF45 to match this model. So what are the specifications of AF45, you may ask? So for example, we have our AF45. The production model of AF45 is that the maximum axle loading is 2.2 tons or 2.7 tons. Okay, and also we have a distance of leaf spring or air spring of 800 millimeters. The brake model is both pneumatic disc or hydraulic disc. Okay, the distribution circle is 6 times 222.25, or the type of the wheel terminal can be bearing unit, conventional, and others. Okay, the weight is 170 to 2.215 kilograms. Okay, besides comparing different models that we used, we can use both the disc brake of 19.5 inches or the drum brake of 400 times 150. Okay, so it's totally different. And also let's talk about the distribution circle. The distribution circle can be 8 times 275 or / 10 times 335. The type of the wheel terminal can be both the bearing unit, conventional, or the drum brake or disc brake, etc. Okay. Another thing about the distance of the leaf spring or air spring, you have a 890 millimeters or 1020 millimeters for the distance of leaf spring or the air spring. Okay. As for the axle loading, we have a axle loading of 4.5 kilograms. 4.5 tons or 4,500 kilograms. Okay. The rim mounting distance. The rim mounting distance is 2340 or 2225. The kingpin center distance is 1847 or 1729. Okay, as well as the maximum rotate angle, we can do both 52 or 39. The drop of the axle in millimeters can be 97 or 107. Okay, so let's talk about the adopted the specification. Okay, so we can adopt AF45 cooperate with the AR85. Now what about the suspension? Okay, so let me introduce 3 different suspension systems: the SR, SF, and SI. Okay, so for those different suspension systems, we have different performance. So for buses from 8 to 9 meters, I recommend the SR75. or SI45? Okay, so let's talk about them one by one. Okay, so for SR85, 75, sorry, the maximum axle loading is actually 7.5 tons. This suspension stroke is 74 or 82, and the distance of spring mounting can be 940, and the total weight is 157. Okay, 157. The rear suspension adopted on 7 to 8 meters bus model it can also be extended to 9 meters of the bus model. Okay, and the airbag center distance can be 830 millimeters. Okay, now let's talk about the another feature of our SI series. So for this bus from 8 to 9 meters, I recommend the SI series of SI45. Okay, for the SI45, we have a maximum axle loading of 4.5 tons. 4.5 tons. Its caster is 5. The chamber is 8.5, and the wheel inclination is 0 plus or minus 45 cents. The suspension stroke is 80, and the maximum rotate angle is 1184 or 1310. It can be used on the rigid axle suspension for buses from 8 to 9 millimeters. Okay. If you want to recommend the SI series of this product for the bus from 8 to 9 meters, I strongly recommend the SI45 here. Okay, I'll write it here. SI45. Okay. So SI45 also perfectly matches the requirement that you have on the SI series. Okay. First, the axle loading is 4,500. Okay, the camber 4,500 kilograms. The camber is 8. The caster is 4.5. And the wheel inclination is 0 plus or minus 0.5. The weight is 517, including the axles, and the airbag center distance is 1,391 millimeters. Now let's talk about the rotate angle. The maximum rotate angle is for the outer angle is 52. The inner angle is 40. The suspension stroke, as I mentioned, is 85. And it fits perfectly to buses from 8 to 9 meters. You can use it on coaches, on tourism buses, or other merchant vehicles. Okay. Okay, now let's talk about, let's do a review of what we have covered today. So, we have covered the technology that we used on our bus axles, as well as the suspension systems, including the low floor design of the city bus and the wheel and driving system. I closely compared the two for the low floor design of the wheel and driving system, as well as the center driving system. So the advantage for the wheel and driving system is huge. Okay, and we also have some disassembly of our product of our wheel and driving systems, as well as this conventional low floor axles here. In the inner side of the vehicles, it looks like this. This is the internal effect of our wider passageway as well as our low floor driving system. Okay. Now let's talk about the conventional low floor axles. Conventional low floor axles. And this is the disassembly of our low floor designs, including our sway bars and the air spring and the high-speed motor, as well as our gear reducer and the dual cross-arm suspension systems. Okay. Now let me compare this system to another system. The wheel and driving system. Okay. So the most notable thing you see is that there is only one set of motor at the back of the bus. So if you adopt our newly developed technology, also known as the wheel and driving system has two motors in total, and they are located, the location are different. Okay, so the location of the wheel driving system is at the rear side of the rear wheels, and the other thing you can notice is that there is only one set of one set of tires, or the rear wheels, if you will, on the wheel driving systems, because the space has to be saved for the e-motors, right? And also you can find the sway bars, the two sets of sway bars actually, on our wheel and driving systems. This is because for two motors you have to make a balance. Okay, you cannot let each side dominate, if you will. And to assure that, we use sway bars to make the torque distribute evenly on the two sides of the bar, the wheels. In this way, our bus can drive smoothly and independently. Okay, now let's talk about another great feature or product of our this is the independent suspension system compared to our wheel and driving axles. So you will notice the difference instantly from the two pictures below, because in the first picture the passageway is obviously wider, right, on the right side. Okay, if you look at the picture on your right side, the passageway is relatively narrower. How can we do that? This is because from the design part, okay, from the beginning of the design, we try to enlarge the space for our passengers. So you can see the kingpin distance for the first axles suspension is between 930 to 980 millimeters, right? So it's a much wider distance. However, for our low floor design, on the right, you can see the distance between the two kingpin center is 720 millimeters. So it's relatively different. So, so what are the difference indicate, you may ask? Well, for the first row, the first the kingpin center of the first one has been enlarged to make sure the passageway, there will be enough passageway for our passengers. On the right side, on the other hand, on the right side has a kingpin center distance of 720 compared to the internal effect from our passageways. Okay, it's a commercial low floor axles. let's talk about the other part on the wheel in driving system. This is the wheel in, okay, as is shown in the picture. So it is shown on the picture that this is a wheel in driving system. It is patented technology from USA. You can see the logo here, right? So we imported this technology from the USA. So so let's have a short break, and we will get back to you in 20 minutes, okay? Okay, let's get back to our live stream session. So as I mentioned before, we have a live stream session of this wheel end. Look, this is the wheel end of Timken, okay? So it is made of alloy, and we have our imported model here. The for imported oil cells, as well as the inner and outer ball bearing system, and the rim and the hoop are integrated together. Okay, the rim, the ball bearing has a high lubrication oils with a very small amount of application, low friction, and very less heat produced. Okay, so the life expectancy of this wheel end system is 1,000,000 kilometers for the road bus and 800,000 kilometers for the city bus. This is not required for the lubrication oils. Every 15,000 kilometers or 12 months, we have to change it. Okay, we have to change it. For the front axles, when we need to change the front axles, there's no need for disassemble the hoop. We don't need to disassemble the hoop. It is not affected by the drastic changes of weathers, and also the fourth generation of our product has another leading advantage compared to the other product, is that the only thing we need to do is to fix it. Okay, we have to fix the product from the beginning. We have to fix our product. For example, we have to remove the wheel end first, and then the rim distance. Okay. However, there is no need for any auxiliary materials such as the welding bars and protective gas such as carbon dioxide needed for our friction welding processes. So when I say friction welding processes, this is the technology that we used to manufacture the to manufacture our product. And by using the friction welding processes, the energy consumption is only 20% of what we got for the traditional welding processes. And the manufacture efficiency is also higher. Okay, it's about 1 to 100 times more efficient compared to other technologies, and there is no auxiliary materials. For example, the welding bars, the welding protective gas or dust required for this product, and for the arc welding processes and other toxic materials, we do not need to protect our workers, because for the traditional welding processes, we have to protect our workers with masks, gloves, and other welding clothes. However, if I say the protective welding processes, there is no need for any those, because our workers are facing directly to the computers, and we should put in different numbers on the computers. Okay, for example, we have the 1.1 on the outside and 1.3 on the inside. Okay, so for these materials, we don't need to we don't have to have these materials. And also by putting on another masks, we have a better solution both for our customers as well as the workers of our product. Okay, now another thing I want to talk about is that when comparing our product with other product in the market, we have a better solution of 1.1 Hz compared to the other product, which has a lower maintenance cost. It has a maintenance-free wheel end with a life expectancy up to 1,000,000 kilometers. Also, our gear reducer was also polished with reduced reducer 11.5 tons and below are made by ourselves. Okay, the three advantages of this main reducer is high torque, low debits, and polished gear. Okay, the strength was increased by 10%. There is also continental airbags and the big foundations involved with a very low frequency and modular design. Okay, so we use modular design, gas, protective gas, etc. to make it higher compared to the other product in the market. Another thing, let's talk about the theory of our low floor and wheel and driving system. I have two pictures for you here. So this is the structure of our product. There is a sway bar in the middle, an air spring on top of the system, and high-speed motors on each side of the wheels. As you can see, the gear reducer was mainly reduced with a dual cross arm suspension and other product, including the dual cross arm spring system. Okay, so with another technology on our chassis system, we can make sure that our system is very much reliable with the spiral lock technology. Okay, so traditionally we use the bolt and joint, traditional bolt and joint on our system, but this is a spiral lock technology on our chassis system. It is made of alloy and a protective coating outside. Okay, it is very much reliable and durable, so we have to put more pressure on this system, as well as increase the suspension system on it. Well, by increasing the protective gas as well as the alloy system, we can make sure that this spiral lock can be fixed in our entire lifespan, because by doing so we have a protective coating to resist the high temperature, the drastic changes of temperature, as well as the high acid and high drastic changes of the environment. So I will give you two examples about the system. So firstly, as a sub-company of Yutong, so I'm from Mollet, so we are a sub-company of Yutong, so we have different product on different countries. So the product is very much reliable and durable. This is our protective gas product, spare lock technology, if you will. So the protection rate is very much increased on our on the production of our system. Another thing I would like to talk about is that for our AR130, we have our protective gas as well as our chassis system. Okay. And for the other product on our entire market, if I for AR85 or SR75, we have our SR130 MOLED transmission system, as well as our protective gas. So then I will talk about the maintenance-free rubber ball joint here. So for the maintenance-free rubber ball joint, we have the life expectancy of about 3 years. Okay, the 3 years. For the entire 3 years, we do not need to change the ball joint. For the protective gas, if you will take a closer look at this ContiTech airbag. Well, you will easily find that this airbag has a bigger volume compared to the normal sized airbag in the market. Right, so the technology we used is ContiTech. It is a sub-brand from Continental. Actually, this airbag is jointly developed by MOLED and Continental. So Continental is a very big company that focusing on the manufacturing of rubber parts, especially tires. So the Continental tires can be found on a very famous brand like ContiTech, Porsche, BMW, Mercedes, or Audi. Okay, so very high performance tires for very great features. Another thing I would like to talk about is that for this ContiTech airbag, we have different lifespans. So this is the Yutong bus logo here, so which proves our product is installed on Yutong buses and exported to all over the world. As I mentioned before, we have different market sectors, including the American market, South American market, such as Brazil, Argentina, Egypt, etc. And we also have our African market, Ethiopia, Malaysia, etc. And also our market of engineering for the market, Asian market like Ethiopia, India, Malaysia, and Thailand. Okay, so we have many famous brands on those countries, as well as those platforms. So for another thing I would like to mention is that for MOLED company, for MOLED, okay, so we adopted a lot of high-end technologies on this, as well as our AR130, AF45, SF45, SS35 in our main market. Okay, so a very famous brand for very famous, actually So another thing, let's talk about the suspension system on our chassis system. Okay, so for our chassis system, we have two series of production lines actually. Okay, I'll show you very quickly. So we have different production lines. This is our axle production line, AR, AF, axle production line. Okay, so we have AR 130, AR 115, AF from 22, 45, 55, 65 to all the way to 75. So these two are our axle series, including the front axles, rear axles, etc. Okay. So this product has a very big performance rate, about the bearing unit. Let me give you some example. For example, our AR85 has a specification parameter of first maximum loading of 8.5 tons, and the braking model is for the disc braking is 19.5, and the drum braking is 400 times 180. Okay, and for the distribution circle, this is 8 times 275. And for different type of the wheel terminal, we have both the bearing unit as well as the conventional. The weight is also different. Okay, for different weight, it is 585 for the drum brake and 464 for the disc brake. The maximum output torque is 18,000 Newton per hour, Newton per meter, or 22,000 Newton per meter. So it's drastically different. And also we adopted on different horizon or bus models with lengths of 8 to 9 meters. The axle loading is 8,500 kilometers, and the rim mounting distance is 1776. Okay, so it's has a very large rim mounting distance. The ratio is 3.91, and it's 4.1 on the ratio distance. Okay, now, and apart from the AR series, let's talk about the AF series. So for the AF series, we have our AF30, we have our AF45 to match the AR85. So they can all be used on manufacturing buses from 8 to 9 meters. First, let's talk about the distance of leaf spring on air spring models. The brake model is 19.5. For the drum brake is 400 times 150. Okay, so it's different. And for the bearing unit or the conventional, and we have different type of the wheel terminals. The weight is 3,887 for the drum brake and 343 for the disc brake. And for the drop of the axles, it's totally different. Okay, so for the drop of the axle is 997 and 107 millimeters for the drop of the axles. Another thing about the ring mounting distance, we have 3 point now let's talk about our rear suspension system, front suspension system, as well as our independent suspension system. Okay, so here is a specification for manufacturing 8 to 9 meters of buses. So we use SR75, SF45, and SI45. So these are the models we use to manufacture a bus between 8 to 9 meters of the buses. As you can see here, we have a total package of solution from 9 meters, 8 meters, even as less as 5 meters of buses, all the way to buses to 18 meters. So we have a whole package of solution for you so that you have a better solution compared to our passengers. Okay? Okay, good. Good. Now, that's all for today's presentation. So I will see you on our next session. Okay. So just have a rest, and we will. My colleague will be on air in no time. Okay. Bye. 我再歇会儿，结束是吧？